in their class, and he said, we love your book, but it's too hard for 8th graders. You ought to write something for their level. And all that's on the two merged. I thought, oh yeah, I could do a fictional story that incorporates, that's historically accurate, and incorporates the skills of reading the forested landscape. And I have passed that around now to a number of people who are successful in that genre, because I just thought, well, I know nothing about this. I'm just going to start doing it. And it was such fun writing fiction, making characters, writing dialogue. And I knew I didn't know what I was doing, but I've gotten really good feedback from these other writers. And they're saying, this is such a cool idea, because Tom, if you think about it, in this genre, the only mysteries are all phantasmagorical. They're all involved with time travel, witches, whatever else. Here's real mysteries right there for kids to do outside. And they said it's so refreshing to see something like that. So yes, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, Lorraine.
So this is a reading the landscape question. For some reason, the last few weeks, as things have started to get greener outside, and I live in Western Mass, I feel like I'm noticing more the effects of the October storm. And is there ever a time, I'm going to use a ridiculous word here, but that things will get back to some semblance of normal? Or how does that, what happens in the years after? Like, it looks really, I feel like I maybe stopped seeing it for a while, and now I'm really, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
At least where I travel.
Yeah, and you'll probably see it really now, because when leaves start budding out and stuff, the parts of the tree that weren't damaged are going to come first, and the parts that were will come later or not at all, depending on how bad the damage was. Luckily, nature's very resilient, so it will recover, but there'll be future events similar to this or other events, and it will recover. It's a constant sort of yin-yang balance of disturbance and succession. They're in interplay, and rightly so. Now, that balance may shift with climate change, and it probably will, because what we're seeing is these more frequent, very erratic weather events. That storm was unprecedented. Nothing ever seen like that historically. So we will probably see increases in the disturbance regime. And then through evolutionary time, our systems will adjust to that new increase. And I think things will be fine in the long haul, but there'll probably be some problems in the shorter term. Any other burning questions? Yes, Katie.
Is there something you haven't done that you would really love to do?
Something I haven't done I'd really love to do. I'll think about that. Nothing's coming right to mind. No, I'm sure there's places I'd love to travel. I'm sure there's all sorts of things. But I have to admit, I've been very, very satisfied with what I've done. I don't feel a void. But one of Bob Mills' greatest things, he died prematurely of pancreatic cancer. And I said, I remember when, he was really sick. I said, Bob, what do you want? And he just said, more of the same. I want more of the same. And I now understand what he meant by that. Yeah, Peter.
Tom, your experience in teaching natural history, environmental studies, what do you think is the sort of the greatest contribution you've made, and how are those lessons that we as ES faculty can take forward and make a difference?
Well, if you had asked that question maybe 5 years ago, I would have said, reading the forested landscape, it's acquainted so many people with a more intimate relationship with their landscapes. But I wouldn't say that now. I would say the material that I'm teaching in the Principles of Sustainability class is the most important work I've ever done. Because I think it's really taking what nature models and showing how we can incorporate it into human systems. And I think the feedback I get from students is a very powerful learning experience. And I've sensed it's very powerful stuff too. So I think that's the most significant work that I've done, is being able, because of one of the reasons being in this department where we're so interdisciplinarily focused, I felt completely comfortable running into a completely foreign realm of mine, economics, and bringing my knowledge about complex systems in the natural world into that as a model. And that's one of the other books I'm working on called The Self-Organized Economy, which is really going to look at that in great depth. Actually, there's a piece I'm writing up for Orion right now, which will be a sort of a precursor essay to that book, and then it'll be expanded out. But I would say that's probably my most important contribution in terms of the natural history, using it to model our human systems.
Tom, given how your trajectory unfolded and all the experience you've had teaching and with students, and just given the times that we're in, are there any particular areas that you would personally like to see your students go towards, like general fields or particular positions?
Okay.
Out of necessity.
So the question was, given today's current climate and stuff, are there any areas that I want to see my students go toward? Yeah, that's easy. It was mentioned by Ricky this morning, it was mentioned by me tonight, where they have the greatest passion. You know, I think we do our best work when we are really passionate about what we do and we have the skills to do it. That will take us further along that path than anything. So that's what I'd ask my students to do, to figure out what they're really passionate about, what they're good about, and that's where they really apply themselves. And my feeling has been, if you have those things, you're going to be like in a magnet, and you're going to attract the right positions to you. It's what happened to me. And it's happened to a lot of the students I advise. I've told a lot of my students that if you know the part of the world you want to be in, then move out there, start developing your professional network around your passion, and eventually it's going to come to you. And it has happened that way for many, many people that I know I've advised. So that'd be my advice. All right, well, thank you very much, and I'll stick around if there's anyone else who wants to say anything.